What's up, LEGO builders? Welcome back to another LEGO City update, and wouldn't you know it, things are even more chaotic. I'm currently building a sci-fi city under attack by a mysterious mech army, and as if that wasn't enough, the city's defenders have started having problems with a gang of upstart thugs who are really becoming a thorn in their side. Today, we'll explore more about this new gang as I continue to build the city, and if you're hyped, don't forget to open fire on that like button, and let's get building. I forgot to check out the minifig and random accessory sections of the Bricklink stores I shopped at for this haul, so unfortunately, I don't have anything too exciting. However, this haul still has some very important stuff from Millennia Prime. Oh, and remember that battle, the Bulge Mock from forever ago? It's still alive and being worked on over on my second channel, Coconut's Kingdom. In fact, the next update will be the last one before it's finished, and these white tiles will go a long way to helping that be completed. I also bought a bunch more lime green parts. I just can't help myself, it's such a cool color and I have so little of it. The main bulk of this order consists of 6x6 light bluish gray plates that'll be used for the foundations of apartment floors and hopefully some plateaus. This next bit isn't part of the haul, but it is kind of haul related. A few weeks ago, I debuted a new military force called the HAEF, and I'm very happy with how well they were received by you guys. I did have multiple requests to share where I got the helmets and armor, so we'll do a quick parts breakdown. I got the helmet on Bricklink as well as the visor, which is just a generic black one. The armor is from the Lightyear sets and is fairly easy to find, and it's also on Bricklink. It's one of LEGO's better armor pieces in my opinion, though I could do without the Lightyear related printing. The legs, unfortunately, come from this very expensive and hard to find CMF Bear Knight. I wanted to keep the soldiers and most of the weapons pure official LEGO because I like the challenge and I want to show how versatile the LEGO system can be even for military stuff. With that out of the way, let's take a look at the final package. This one's about as exciting as the first one. I keep forgetting my LEGO City needs roads, so I've started stocking up on dark bluish gray brick. I'm gonna need a sickening amount, but I'm hoping to chip away at that with each order. I did find some more of these bent elbow arm pieces, and I was surprised with how many of you dislike this piece, which I used on a mech a few weeks back. Which is unfortunate for those of you who don't like it, because it's gonna be showing up again before you know it. I recently attended Atlanta BrickCon, and while there, snagged a couple solid minifigs. These jungle scientists encased in their hazmat suits are perfect for the HAEF, and this guy may seem like a weird buy, but I need his pants. Because I also bought some Halo stuff. After years of riding the fence, I've finally decided to take the plunge and start building Halo mocks, and you can't do that without Master Chief. I got his helmet and armor from Brickforge, and I think the gun is Brick Tactical. And I'm pretty happy with my first ever Halo fig. He just looks so iconic, and stay tuned because I have parts for more characters and some mock building plans in the works. Okay, that was a fun little tangent, but we're here for a building update. In my second city update last year, I introduced the first gang called the Diodes. I also go over why they all have swords and melee weapons instead of guns in that video, so if you want to learn more, I have that video pinned at the top of the screen. Now it's time to introduce a potential rival gang that has been roaming the streets and alleyways of Millennia Prime. Unlike the dark colors and mysterious helmets of my previous gang, the Diodes, this group is all about color, style, and violence. Their loud colors make me think of a poison dart frog, daring people to mess with them and see what happens. They're looking good, but still need a solid set of wheels. This is an armored car designed by Guy Smiley on YouTube. He did an impressive job on not just the outside, but the inside as well. Two doors open up on the side to reveal a driver and passenger seat, and the back opens up for hauling loot and other stolen goods. The perfect chariot for these harbingers of chaos. I got the idea for this after Zach Storm YouTube left a novel of a comment on my last video asking for more civilian-based vehicles. I had this truck laying around and decided, why not? Let's try it out. This gang's main colors are orange and bright blue. Two colors which I don't really have, so this is less of a new paint job for the truck and more of a paint sampling. If I don't like it, I can always revert it back to dark bluish gray. While the Diodes see themselves as more of a large crime syndicate moving behind the scenes and seizing power, these guys like to make their presence known. Their loud clothes and wild haircuts match their devil-may-care attitude as this gang rolls around the city causing chaos and looting wherever they can. While less organized and future-driven, they've managed to carve out a decent-sized territory with their main base of operations being a large apartment building in the residential district. But recently, they've become a little too bold, and after stealing a fleet of armored cars and some weapons from fallen soldiers, they've drawn the unwanted attention of the HADF, who have taken it upon themselves to cool these hotheads and remind them of who's really in charge. Unfortunately, this might be the ugliest thing I have ever put on screen. It makes a sea prune look like a supermodel, and that's no shade on Guy Smiley. I just didn't have enough pieces for a proper color swap, and you can be sure I will be reverting this to dark bluish gray before it ever pops up in another video. I still need a good name for this gang, so based on their colors, traits, or whatever else I've shared in this video, drop some good gang name suggestions in the comments. Now that you've met this quote-unquote new gang, it's time to finish building their hangout spot. Last year I started building a large multi-level apartment complex, but had to put things on hold because it was just such a piece-intensive project. Since then I've slowly been building up the necessary parts, and with the aid of those 6x6 plates I should be able to build the rest of the levels today. This building sits in the middle of the residential district of my LEGO city, and with the destruction of Lantern Industries HQ will most likely be the second tallest building in the mock. Each level is mostly identical, so I'm just copying what I've already built, and I'm planning on enough pieces to build 2 more levels. This was actually one of the first buildings I designed for the city and is based on an apartment building I saw while traveling in Italy last year. Now, back to the gang lore. I said quote-unquote new because eagle-eyed viewers will recognize at least one of the members from early city update videos. This gang has been around for a while, but up until recently they were just a group of thugs with no real leadership or aspirations other than to cause problems and get what they want. They were like the little brother of gangs who weren't taken seriously until new leadership took over and changed things up. Suddenly, their raids became more targeted. The loot hordes were centralized and more members joined. At last they had the means to really establish themselves, and with law enforcement and military overwhelmed by the Protectorate mech invasion, they were left with little resistance and eventually took over a massive apartment building to be their HQ. Other people are allowed to live here under the gang's protection still, but had to pay a high fee and often get robbed anyways. But in a city under siege from metal soldiers and giant robots, it's the better option to living on the streets. And speaking of streets, that's part of the reason why I haven't done a lot of civilian vehicles. There's a war going on right now. I've seen some comments asking why aren't there more civilians out and about in my city, and well, it's a war zone. You'd be a lot less likely to swing by your local favorite noodle bar as well if it had been partially crushed by a giant 6-legged mech. So, for the people asking for more cars and civilians, they will be there, just not in large numbers. Even the bootlegged armored car from earlier won't be really useful since, yes, that would be a great getaway vehicle if you're being chased by the police, but they're not prowling the streets anymore. These days, you'll still be chased by the boys in blue, they'll just be looking a little different and be trying to barbecue you with laser tech from another planet. So for now, it's best just to stay inside. Most of the apartment's interior will be hidden, but I built a couple of these rooms to give the feeling of space inside. Also, whoever lives here has great taste in fine art. They also have a nice wood floor and some stylish yellow chairs for the dining room table. It may be wartime, but this family is still eating good and it looks to be glizzy o'clock right now. These rooms go on the inside of the sliding doors, and with that done, I can stack the final 2 levels. Let me know in the comments what you think of the overall apartment building's design. I have one last objective to tackle, the roof. I built a small building to act as the doorway to get onto the roof from the stairwell since I feel like that's a staple apartment building rooftop structure, and I sprinkled in some masonry brick and vents as well, adding headlight bricks to the side walls so I can attach pipes. It's topped with a sloped roof at the back with some more vents because you can never be too well ventilated. I tiled off the top, and now I can get to my favorite aspect of this mini mock, the pipes. Older apartment buildings have a wealth of exposed piping doing who knows what and going who knows where, but man do they look cool doing it. War may be raging, but people gotta consume their favorite digital streaming monopolies and other conglomerates content, so I need to build a large antenna. I like using cylinder bricks connected together with round plate and sticking some trans-colored pieces on top with little satellites. This gang flaunts their colors proudly in the form of a large flag that also waves on top of the roof. I'm trying to add as many fun roof-related details as possible, so if you have any other suggestions, let me know in the comments. Oh, and the roof looks like that because I am clean out of small light bluish gray plate and mostly out of the needed tile, so pretend this is King Neptune the 14th's bald head and look away before your eyes burn. Also, why is this flag quaking in its boots like that? For all their posturing and loud threats, this gang didn't put up much of a fight as a squad of hardened HADF troops rolled up to their HQ in a Guardian IFV. After a very brief firefight in which they realized having swords in a gunfight was almost as dumb as bright orange uniforms, they stood down and were rounded up. The HADF proposed 2 options. As punishment for their crimes, the gang members could either be shipped back to the capital city with a sentence of hard labor or serve out their time here in Millennia Prime, acting as informants and scouts for the military until the war's over. Having never heard good things about being sent to the capital, the members quickly agreed and were stripped of their guns, but were allowed to remain in control of their HQ. Barring no further major crimes were reported. The diodes watched from afar, mulling over the idea that the HADF had begun to infiltrate the criminal underworld and what that could mean for their future plans in Millennia Prime. I'm really happy with how this apartment complex is looking. Once it's all finished, I can see this being its own little ecosystem full of stories and cool details to enjoy. I would like to make it taller, however, I'm out of sand blue brick and there's no real good reason to. But I do think this will most likely stay built even after Millennia Prime is taken apart, so I can add more levels to it in the future. This was a very bittersweet update. I got the shell of the apartment finished, but wasn't able to get as much progress done on the overall city as I wanted to. I was hoping to get the entire plateau this apartment rests on finished, as well as doing some work on the industrial complex. But I had to wait on packages, the apartment levels took too long, and I just wasn't feeling great this week. But I'm still determined to finish my LEGO city by the end of March, and I still think I can hit that goal as long as I stay focused. That's a wrap for this one though. Don't forget to let me know what you think of the mock in the comments, and until next time, happy building.